Hey guys, here's another set breakdown for TTMs. I'm going to break down which ones are free. This is this stack, and which ones are paid and how much they charge. So I had a 792 in the 1986 top set. 209 are are free. I'm not saying they're 100% guaranteed, but they don't charge, and there have been successes or a history of successes for free. This is as of what is it? August 14th, 2024. That's all the information is current as of today. This will be good for in the future or whatever, to some extent, just because people change, people start charging, people unfortunately pass away, stuff like that. So let's get started on the free ones right now. I'll make some comments about them, if they're easy to get, if they've had some issues, if they haven't had a success in a while. So let's get going. I want to make sure I'm not blinding anybody here. Jim Acker, very good signer. Same with Bill Allman. Larry Anderson had a history of signing. He has not had a success in about a year, so I don't know. He may have just stopped. Bob Baylor signs. Dusty Baker, he does sign. Right now, it doesn't seem like there's a good address. I don't know what that is right here, but there's not a really good, consistent address for him. Steve Balboni, he signs one, and you can find all this information on Sports Card Forum. That's where I get most of them. There's some that at sportscollector.net, I think it's like $15 a year. I do double check some of the stuff on there with some of the information I have. Chris Bando, I just got one back last week, and he does have pass pros, but he's been signing a couple for people. So Alan Bannister, very good. Floyd Bannister has a history of good successes, but hasn't had one in a while. Hasn't had a success in a while. Jeff Barkley, Jim Beattie, I got him a couple weeks ago. Same with Bruce Benedict. Carl Best, he's starting to sign pretty good. Dan Billadello, he's a good signer. Bruce Bochy, Bochy. Barry Bonnell, I got him back last week. Rich Bordy, Dad Bosley, Dennis Boyd, he was signing for a little bit. I think he kind of got hammered. He hasn't had a success in about a month and a half. So, Phil Bradley, Greg Brock, Tom Brookins, he is streaky when it comes to signing. Mark Breward, Tom Bernansky, he is 2 pass pros, but I think he's still kind of in that grace period where he's kind of transitioning. So chances are you can probably get one or two signed. Steve Buechel, he's another guy, history of success, but not in a while. Al Bumbry, Britt Burns, Sal Butera, Brett Butler, in the same boat as Steve Buechel. Historically very good, but hasn't had many successes in a while. Jeff Calhoun, Don Carmen, Rick Cerrone, he historically signs 1 per submission. Jim Clancy, that's another Jim Clancy. Stu Clybourne, Jaime Kokenauer, he's a good signer. I got him a month or 2 ago. Chris Codrioli, Glenn Cook, Tim Corcoran. Let's get that. Joe Cowley, Steve Crawford, Danny Darwin, one of the GOATs for TTM. Mike Davis, Bill Dolly, Brian Dayette. I believe he has Parkinson's, so he hasn't had a success in about 6 months. So, it's FYI. I don't. It may have progressed to a certain point where he can't do it anymore. But I'll put him in this pile because I wanted to mention it. Frank DiPino, Ken Dixon, Dave Dravecki, Jim Dwyer, Frank Euphemia, Daryl Evans. Be prepared to wait pretty long for him. John Felsky, Tom Filer, Pete Filson, Brian Fisher, Scott Fletcher, Ray Fontenot, Brent Gaff, Greg Gagne, Mike Gallego, Gene Barber, Ron Gardenhire, Phil Garner, Rich Gedman, Craig Gerber, Jerry Don Gleaton, Jim Gott. You could wait a while on him. I did get him back about a month or so ago. Wayne Gross, Johnny Grubb, Mark Kubica, Ron Guidry. He's been signing pretty good lately. Mike Hargrove, he's very streaky, so I just wanted to let everyone know. Same with Brian Harper, Toby Hara, Greg Harris. I'm trying not to blind you guys as I'm doing this. Billy Hatcher, Rich Hebner, Joe Hesketh, Mark Hill, Glenn Hoffman, Bert Hooten, Ricky Horton, Charlie Huff, another GOAT, TTM GOAT, Jay Howell, Glenn Hubbard, Charles Hudson, Dane and Garth Iorg. Brooke Jacoby has a history of pretty good TTM, but he's been streaky here recently. Deion James, Bob Jones, Lynn Jones, Bob Kearney, Terry Kennedy is another one here. Sammy Khalifa, a bit streaky. Ron Kittle, Alan Nicely, Brad Kaminsk, Bill Kruger, Dennis Lamp, Carney Lansford. He's a bit of a, what is it called? He goes down to Arizona during the winter. What are those? Snow something? I forget. Someone did have a couple successes too. I can't remember if it was in Arizona or like up Pacific Northwest, Oregon area. Just FYI. Dave LaPointe, Tony LaRussa, Bill Lasky, Gary Lavelle, Rudy Law, Tom Lawless, Terry Leach, Brian Little, Gary Lucas, Steve Lyons, Rick Manning, Mike Marshall, Buck Martinez, Tippy Martinez, Mike Mason, Odaby McDowell, Andy McGaffigan, Scott McGregor, Craig McMurtry, Bobby Meacham, Jackie Moore, Jim Morrison, Steve Mura, Gene Nelson. All right. We have Pete O'Brien, Randy O'Neill, Jesse Orozco. I've seen people get some for free for him and some, throw in some money for him. So I'm a bit confused with him because I did get some for free 2 or 3 months ago. So FYI on that. Jim Pankovitz, Al Pardo, Dan Pasqua, Jack Perconti, Gary Pettis, Ted Power, Jim Presley. He's not historically known to be a good TTMer. He did have 1 or 2 successes here in the last couple weeks, but I did send off one to him. We'll see if I get it back anytime soon. So Dennis Rasmussen, Shane Raleigh, Johnny Ray, Floyd Rayford, Jerry Reed, Rick Ruschel, another TTM GOAT, Dave Rigetti, Bert Roberge, Don Robinson, Bob Rogers. He's been very good of late. Gary Renicky, Ron Renicky, Ed Romero, Paul Runge, John Russell, Luis Salazar, Billy Sample. And by the way, if you see any guys you see on this, that I'm pointing out that you may look towards and maybe send off something to get signed, please comment down below and tell me who you guys are targeting, and please like and subscribe and all that stuff. I plan on doing these TTM breakdowns at least a couple times a month. So I've got a football one coming up. I haven't really gotten to that one yet, so probably be next week or so. Dan Schatzeder, Bill Shearer, Dave Schmidt, Dick Schofield. He used to be very good, but here lately not so much. Just FYI, Bill Schroeder, Ken Schramm, Rick Shue, Donnie Scott, Pat Sheridan, Joel Skinner, Bryn Smith, Roy Smith, Zane Smith, Mike Smithson, Nate Snell. He has had some success over the last few years, but it's very spotty, so he hasn't had a success in a while. Brian Snyder, Larry Sorensen, Bill Stein, and this is the last little free pile here. Tim Stoddard, Jeff Stone, John Stuper, Mark Sullivan, Frank Tanana, Tom Tellman, Walt Terrell, Mickey Tettleton, he has been signed into the Danville Otterbots minor league baseball team, but their season did wrap up, so beware. I'm not really sure, how long a manager like that kind of sticks around after the season, if it's like a, few months afterwards, or if once the season's over, he bolts for a while. So, and who knows if he's even going to be there next year. I don't know. They won their championship, and he might get a better job. Who knows? So, Roy Thomas, Andre Thornton. There's another one, Lou Thornton, Mark Thurmond, Manny Trio, Steve Trout, Mike Trujillo, Dave Van Gorder, Bobby Valentine, Ed Vandenberg, Max Venable, Rick Waits, Greg Walker, Kurt Wardle, John Wathen, Eddie Whitston, Ernie Witt, Bobby Wine, Glenn Wilson, Jim Wynn, Jim Wolford's a bit streaky, Ed Wona, George Wright, Butch Winiger, Marvel Wynn, Matt Young and Paul Zuvella. Let's throw that back over here. So those are all the free ones. There's 209 guys to target if you got the 1986 top set. I only paid, I don't know, what was that, like $20 for this. So it's inexpensive if you're looking for like a 1987 tops. If you're trying to get a bunch of those, this will help pad the envelopes of some of these guys that only have a few cards. So, what am I doing? I tapped the card instead of the phone. All right, let's go through the ones that paid. I've got a list over here, so let's get going. All right, we got Tony Armas is $15. Wally Backman's Pass Pros, I'm not really sure how much, but he's streaky too. So Harold Baines $20, Jesse Barfield $15, Kevin Bass $5, Juan Behringer $5, Bruce Beringy $3, Del Barra $10, Kurt Bevacqua $10, Buddy Biancalana, right? $10. Burt by 11, $20. Mike Boddicker $5, Wade Boggs $10, very good price. Daryl Boston $15, Steve Braun is $5, Sid Bream is $1, Mike Brown $5, Glenn Brummer is $2, Ray Burris is $10, Marty Bystrom is $10, John Candelera is $5, Steve Carlton's $40, Joe Carter $10. I don't think they have a good address right now for him though. Ron Says $15, Jack Clark $12, Roger Clemens $100, Vince Coleman is $20, Cecil Cooper $5, Doug Corbett is $3, Jose Cruz is $5. Oh, here we go. Glenn Davis is a Pass Pro guy. I'm not really sure how much he is. Jody Davis is $5. Andre Dawson is $10. Good price. Doug DeCentis is $3. Ivan DeJesus is $5. Rick Dempsey is $5. We have Bob Denier is $5. Ken Dixon. I must have put him. Sorry about that. I put him in the free pile. Ken Dixon is $5. Dennis Eckersley is $10. Raleigh Fingers is $15. Mike Fichlin is $5. Carlton Fisk is $50. Doug Flynn is $5. Dan Ford is a Pass Pro guy. Not really sure how much he charges. George Foster is $10. Jim Gantner is $5. Barbaro Garby is $15. He is, I think he's a Pass Pro guy as well. Steve Garvey is $5. Dwight Gooden is $20. There's a few cards of him. Goose Gossage is $10. Bob Gritch is $30. Bill Gullickson is $5. Ron Hassey is $10. Von Hayes is $5. Keith Hernandez is $25. There's a few of him. Tom Herr is $5. Teddy Higuera is $10. Bob Horner is $10. Jack Howell is $10. Kent Herbeck's $5. Clint Hurdle's $5. Bruce Hurst is Pass Pros guy. Reggie Jackson is $100. Steve Jeltz is $10. Tommy John is $50. Cliff Johnson is $5. Davey Johnson is $5. Howard Johnson is $10. Rupert Jones is $25. Jimmy Key is $5. Dave Kingman is 5. Jerry Kuzman is 10. Lee Lacey's 20. Vance Law is... I'm having a hard time with him. I think at most it's 5 per card, but I've seen people, get multiple cards signed for, around $5. So, FYI. Charlie Lee Brandt, it's 5. Sixto Lizcano, $10. Bill Madlock is 10. Dennis Martinez is 5. Larry McWilliams is 5. Rick Miller is 5. Paul Molitor's 20. Del Murphy is 25. Couple cards there. Joe Nolan is 7. Ken Obertfeld, I believe he's $6, but right now the kind of a bad address. So Ron Oster, I know it's like around it's more than 10. Don't really know what the total is though. Some people got a price list. I didn't get mine when he sent my cards back unsigned. So Al Oliver's a pass pro guy. Steve Oliveris is 5. Junior Ortiz is 5. Dave Palmer is 10. Lance Parrish is 15. Larry Parrish is a pass pro guy. Dave Parker is 25. Alejandro Pena is 3. Dan Petrie is 10. Terry Puel is 10. Jeff Reardon is 10. Gary Reedus is 5. Jerry Reese, 15. Ron Reynolds is 10. Jim Rice is 20. Andre Robertson is 5. Pete Rose is 50. And there's quite a few Pete Roses in this set because there's the manager, there's the player, there's this record breakers, and then there's a bunch of these like reprint insert things. Dave Rozema is $5. Nolan Ryan is $75 through his foundation. Brett Saberhagen is 10. Ryan Sandberg is 10, good price. Steve Sachs is 5, another good price. Bob Shirley is 3. Doug Sisk is 5. Lee Smith is 30. Lonnie Smith is 10. Chris Spears, a pass pro guy. I think it's like 15, I believe. Gary Templeton is a pass pro guy. Not sure. Darrell Thomas is 15. Gorman Thomas is 5. Dickie Thon, I believe he's 13 through pass pros. Alan Trammell, I'm not really sure. I think if you send him a donation with the where he's assistant GM there, I think of the Tigers, he will sign it, but if you don't send any money, he won't. I think that's the pattern that I've figured out. So just kind of keep an eye on that. John Tudor is 5. Andy Van Slyke, I think it's 15, I believe, do pass pros. Frank Viola is 5. Lou Whitaker 25. Willie Wilson 5. Frank White is a pass pros guy. He did do free ones for a long time. Not sure if he's transitioning to that or if he just completely stopped doing free and only doing pass pros. Herb Winningham is 5 and Jack Youngblood is 5. So there's the set breakdown. If you guys have any other ideas of some sets to do that you're kind of thinking about buying, is it worth it, and this and that. So I like doing these. It does take a little bit of a time. So if you could please like this video, that'd be awesome. It gets out to more people. And I think that's all we have here today. And I'll see you Sunday for my TTM haul. Thanks.